Today, I have a pretty cool announcement for you guys that you can probably gather from the title what it is. The fact that the Ghost of Ascalon audiobook I've been producing is now done and will be available for you guys to listen to after quite a long time. I really hustled on it last week so that it could be here for you at the start of February. Believing that there wasn't too much work for me left to do, I actually spent probably around 20 hours in addition to the previous attempts I'd made. And well, today I want to talk about what exactly that is, since I'm sure a lot of you might have forgotten. So for probably 4 or 5 years now, I've been expressing an interest to do these audiobooks, and about 2 years ago, some of the guys over at NCSoft really helped me push and get permission for them. They really afforded me an amazing opportunity that I wish more people also had, and essentially I was allowed to produce audiobook versions of the copyrighted material from the 3 novels to do with Guild Wars 2. That's The Ghost of Ascalon is the first one, The Edge of Destiny is the second one, and The Sea of Sorrows is the third. They're all books that I'm well familiar with and have read before. Sea of Sorrows and never actually finished, I must be honest. They are books I've read before, but I knew that a lot of people just didn't have the information from them. As novels, they give you a totally different side of Tyria, a different sense of scale, different opportunities to really get to know the characters and what was happening in the years before Guild Wars 2 came out. This first novel, which is now done, The Ghost of Ascalon, is set a year before launch, okay? So you've got all the opening stuff when you appear out there in the village of Shaymor, or you've just been born from the Pale Tree. These are events that took place just before that and deal with the truce between the Char and the humans that remain, those of Ascalon and those particularly of the city of Ebonhawk. Basically, you follow an adventuring band as they try to make that truce, or at least the talks for that truce, a reality. So I've always known that I love the lore, and I've always known that a lot of what I do in my videos, especially if you watch my playthroughs, is straight up reading chapters of Tyria's history, whether that be the Movement of the World article before Guild Wars 2 came out, many of the blog posts that have released ever since, particularly throughout Living World Season 1, a lot of the in-game lore, like the most recent Living World episode has got a bunch of those. I'll be doing a video on for you later in the week, and so it just seemed like a natural fit. Today, it's done. So how do you access it? Well, when I originally got permission 2 years ago, I did produce a few episodes for you all. They're already on my channel, up to chapter 5. My original vision for the project was that each new episode could have fan art from the community. I would pull ambient audio from the games themselves and try to do something as professional as possible. Like this project, I really wanted to feel like a serious, well-made, professional audiobook where there weren't any flubs or mispronunciations or anything like that. I took it very seriously. And they all went well. I got a good amount of art. 2 different people offered art for this project way back when, over those 2 years ago, and I cannot thank them enough. So those early episodes do have community art. Like I say, I think the first 5 chapters were already done, but it's a 27 chapter long book, and I didn't do the rest. So there are a few reasons for this, but chief among them, and this is really the serious one, as great as the idea was, a lot of you guys didn't want to watch it. Frankly, when I finally started putting the episodes out, barely anyone clicked them. Like, anyone at all. Like, it was the lowest viewed thing I'd done for ages. And the idea that I was going to be pushing out 27 videos and 27 chapters worth of work for basically nothing felt really off to me. I kind of put it to the side, figured I'd just do it bit by bit, and it kind of fell more and more to the wayside. I have in the previous 2 years come back to it and recorded a chapter here, recorded a chapter there, but it wasn't until this week really that I truly sunk my teeth into it and finished it up. Honestly, I thought the book only had 25 chapters, and I've come back to it realizing there were 27, and that I wasn't as far in as I thought I was. So there was most of it was really produced this week and took a huge amount of my focus this week. So back to how you can access it. There is a playlist already on my main channel. You can find that, and added to the playlist now will be all the other chapters. They're currently being rendered and uploaded as I speak, so if you're really early to the video, you might not see them all just yet, but they will be popping up, particularly over the next couple of days. What I'm doing with those videos is uploading them and keeping them unlisted, so that I don't give people like 27 announcements that Wooden Potatoes has made a new video and encourage a ton of people to unsubscribe from me because they don't care about the book. So I will upload the next proper chapter and I'll let that broadcast to everyone. All the rest are just going to be sneakily added to the playlist, and you can watch those through as time goes by at your own leisure. I will say that wasn't my entire plan. What I was really hoping to do was give you a video right here, right now, that was all the chapters together. I think the runtime for the full audiobook is about 8 hours long. And it probably took double to triple that for me to produce. But when I tried to render it all into one nice thing and have it all work, it didn't really come out how I wanted it to. So I will stay with the separate videos for each chapter format, and you guys will just scroll through. There is another benefit to that for me, and that's that between each chapter, you kind of load another video, and that gives me another view, maybe another ad, which is kind of annoying, I guess, for you guys, but I've really realized that money's getting very low. You'll probably see a channel update come from me super soon about this, and I think it is ultimately the healthiest way to get something back from all the time I spent on the book. So that's the book. It is all done. I really hope you guys enjoy it. One of the reasons people didn't really want to watch it before, as far as I understand, is people like to binge it. So back when I was originally releasing, I wanted to do one chapter and then do a SoundCloud audio description which talked about my impressions of the chapter, and we kind of had a bit of a book club going on. But again, just like the main videos, no one was really looking at the SoundCloud side of it either, and it was just overly complicated. So I think people just want to sit down and listen to the whole thing, and you will be able to do that now. The whole audiobook in bulk will be there. Just check out that playlist in the description and go from there. On the topic of the previous SoundCloud descriptions I did, there is not a special Wooden Potatoes mini review of every single one of the 27 chapters anymore, because I'm not doing them week by week. I'm pushing them all out so that you guys can binge them. What I will do instead is about a week from now, probably next weekend, I'll give you guys another video, which is my review of the book Ghosts of Ascalon, what I thought of it, and we can discuss the book in general. So that gives you guys about a week to listen to my audiobook or read it for yourselves, and then we can have an actual discussion video on it there. After that, we'll figure out whether that was fun, and if people are watching it, I will totally go ahead and get those next ones done. If there's basically no viewership, I really feel like I need to spend time on other stuff this year, just to sort of turn the tides back from how 2018 and 19 have been. Again, you can check out the channel update on that tomorrow. But so, hopefully I will get the other books going, and we can do our little reviews in one video at the end and give our big impressions, right, and our big highlights. That should be more fun, and I'm really looking forward to the comments on that. A little bit more as well before I go today. This really is just an announcement that they're there and you guys can go check them out. I do want to say I haven't really proof-checked a lot of the stuff I bulked out this week. So if there are any errors, please do let me know. The big advantage here of doing individual videos for individual chapters still is if I've messed something up, say in chapter 19, and it's like significant, and I really do want this to feel as professional as possible, I can just pull that video and put a new one up, unlisted, and slide it back there in the playlist, and no one would ever know in the future, but I can have it fixed. So let me know if you really detect like a big issue like that. Proof checking can only go so far. And likewise, since I've bulked them all out now, the original 2 artists that were providing those amazing backgrounds, they're not around. And so the majority of the book, the back half of the book, I don't have art for. If anyone is inspired as they listen to my audiobook production and wants to do a little bit of art, if I get a good amount of it, I will endeavor to re-upload and put the art on as well. And so then we'll have art for all the chapters as well. The thing is, with it all as like a bingeable bulk release, I can almost guarantee everyone's going to be alt-tabbed and they won't be listening to it. That lastly brings me to the idea of a pure podcast version. I haven't been able to produce, the terms for me to actually be able to deliver this to you is I couldn't like paywall audio versions of it. I couldn't release it early for people on Patreon or anything like that. So it is what it is. If one of you wants to download each of the videos in the series, rip them into an audio format and tell me about it, so you've got like one big audio track, then I will do my best to make sure that's linked so people can get access to that as well. Realistically, I'd like to get the YouTube views or whatever so that people actually know it was me that produced it and there's not just these, for lack of a better word, like bootleg versions of it. But you know, it's free content for everyone to get out there and enjoy, and I really hope that you guys do. So that's the idea. I'll round out the video as well with just some thoughts on what producing it was like for me. For anyone interested, maybe you're thinking of doing an audiobook of your own. To me, it felt like a match made in heaven, and I'm so used to just reading stuff out in videos that I thought it wouldn't be a problem. This was actually way harder and way less enjoyable than I thought it would be. I mean, as you listen, I was enjoying reading the chapters, and I'm very happy to have done it, but it was nowhere near as smooth or easy breezy as I thought. Like, when I'm in a video or just speaking to a microphone like this right now, I'm not really that worried about missing a word here or mispronouncing something there, or the specific enunciation of each syllable in every sentence. But with the audiobook, it was really stressful. It was stressful to like have that slower pace so that I didn't, sound too fast for non-native speakers. It was stressful to think about my tone and not sound too shrill. I found myself focusing on like every T sound as a sentence came out. Like, do I gloss over that T? Did I gloss over it the last time I read this word in the book? What about this K sound? Specifically hard consonants and how often I should really accentuate them. Ended up taking so much of my focus, I often wasn't able to read far enough ahead to get the whole paragraph in my mind as I go, and then I'd end up stumbling, and then I'd have to edit the thing out. The EQ I'm using on it as well is kind of very breathy and high-endy, so you can really hear me breathing, and there's a ton of cuts in it, so I feel like I'm really nervous that you can hear each cut of every breath just before the next sentence starts, and you don't want that, right? I wanted it to sound as good as possible, so there was just always this constant ebb of stress there. The EQ itself, I have to say, I set up way back when I first got permission and did those first couple of chapters. And I've left it because the book needs to sound consistent, right? I don't want you going through the chapters and then it suddenly sounds starkly different next chapter to next chapter to next chapter. So I've kept the EQ, but I really don't like that EQ anymore. So I kind of feel like it's a bit iffy. Again, if someone wants to do one big long track of it, tell me about it. If they apply a different post-process into it, I'd love to hear what they come up with. And then that was something that got really challenging, just that idea of consistency, because of how long I spent with this, which is my own ineptitude, I totally acknowledge. But essentially the idea that I recorded certain chapters with certain character voices and a certain pace and a certain, sound to me, a certain texture. And then I'm coming back like 9 months later and I'm like, right, I'll do a couple more chapters. And then I'm coming back like a few months after that and it sounds different again. So if it sounds a bit inconsistent as the chapters go along, I'm really sorry. That does suck. But at the end of the day, it was produced over a 2-year period. Most of it, I will say though, the back half of the book was done literally this week. Like, that's what I've really been grinding down on this week. So it should sound consistent this week. In particular, I think the area that I'm most insecure about with this is character voices. This is what really I found very hard, and just some advice or a warning to people who want to do their own audiobooks. I guess I do voices when I do some videos, like in playthroughs, but a lot of what I generally read is like prose, and it's not like dialogue. And I always knew that this would be a challenge for an audiobook. Like, if I have 2 women characters speaking to each other, if you are reading the text on the page, it's very obvious which character is which before maybe you get to the end of the sentence. But if I'm doing an audiobook, I need to kind of assign a slightly different inflection to one woman than the other. But, I'm not a voice actor. I can't really do that many women voices. And if I tried to do too strong of a one, it could sound really farcical and cartoony and cringy. My biggest fear is cringe, right? So, like, I'm sitting there trying to do, like, a female Char voice, and I'm trying to do, like, a Norn voice versus, like, a King's voice. And, these are difficult. They really are. And you end up focusing on all of that stuff and the stuff I was saying earlier. And then you're going to end up messing the sentence up, so you end up redoing it. Or the way that we write is, if you're just reading a book, okay, and you read some dialogue begins, you can take the information of what the dialogue is, and then after the dialogue is done, the book will say, said blah, blah, blah character. And now you know what the character was. I mean, in a well-made book with decent, characterizations, and you can kind of anticipate and guess who's saying what based on context. But a lot of the time you can't, and you are reliant on the end of the sentence to know. So you really have to scan quite far forward sometimes to make sure you know which character is speaking before you even begin the sentence, because you have to get the voice right. Otherwise, you're going to mess it up, and then it's going to be another little cut, and then a little bit of worrying about the breath. It goes on. Like, so these were real things that stressed me out. I would still love to do more books if people enjoy them. But, yeah, that relentless pursuit of them being really professional, I kind of just had to give up on eventually. Like, the other thing about character voices is, over the long term of the project, like, I'm pretty sure I voice some characters quite differently in the earlier chapters than I do in the back half of the book. I'm hoping that's not too immersion breaking. I'm also hoping that by laying all these concerns out, I've not made you hyper aware of them as you go through the book. Probably better to have not done it in this order, hey? But there you have it. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a bit about the project. Really rewarding, very fun to like look at and do a new kind of thing. Very proud to have it. I'm extremely thankful to the guys that helped me to do this. I love that the Guild Wars community does now have access to these books in kind of another format. I just hope that people really sit down and enjoy them. And go through, leave comments on those videos as well. I know that your temptation is going to be to binge them chapter by chapter, but please, if when a chapter ends, you've got some thoughts about what just happened in it, please leave me comments about it. Because I would be so interested. Even though I'm not really doing individual mini reviews anymore for every single one, there's so much I could say. You know, you'll read a sentence in there and one character will speak of the legacy of the faux fire. And it's like, whoa, that became the name of a PvP map. And look, it's referenced here in the novel before the game came out. It's pretty cool, guys. It really is. So anyway, there you have it. Again, I'll give you a review as to the content of the book, and we'll talk about the characters and what happened there, and whether the book's actually any good later on this week, giving you guys a chance to listen to it. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoy it. I really do. It's been a lot of work, and I will see you for another video and more fun stuff. February, hopefully, is going to be really cool soon. In fact, tomorrow, I'm going to give you a big channel update about really what's going on with me, my life, and the next year on YouTube. It's a really important video too, so I hope to see you there. Kind of a little bit bare to the bone, but we'll get there when we see it. See you guys tomorrow for that. Until next time, take it easy.